Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? It's been a rough couple of days, at least for the ones with conscience, watching everything that has been, that has been unveiled in front of us, exposed, to see the prevalence of apathy in the society right now, to see the prevalence of media conditioning and how strongly it has been influencing people around us, right? In a way, this protest has exposed all these things for the good because the future, if it goes like this, where we are being controlled, we are being controlled by ministers who are meant to be in jail. They're meant to be in jail, okay? And they've been manipulating using religious sentiments, using power, using money, using whatnot, right? Ideologies. The future does not look great. You need to understand that you have to ask a lot of questions. You need to ask why. You need to stop getting triggered and look at what is actually happening around you. Be present, observe the patterns, right? Pattern recognition is something, a very important skill that one can have. Okay? Everything that is happening around us, everything in this universe is patterns, and you need to pay attention to those patterns, right? Don't you see how enraged and people are behaving these days, right? And is it a good thing? Is it what our dharma is? Is it what we are representing right now? And a lot of people think they are safe, right? It is an illusion. There is an illusion of safety. There is an illusion of inclusivity right now that is making people feel good about themselves, supporting a certain party, let's say. But what has history taught us? Just look at the facts. Look at what is actually happening around us, right? Look at the systemic control and what is happening to a country right now. If we really research about it, we get to see a lot of things that are not right, and it is very scary. It is very scary. And I don't have kids, but I wonder what kind of future the kids will have right now, the ones that are in Alpha generation or Gen Zs or even the ones that are born, right? In recent times. I don't know what generation they belong to. It is very heartbreaking. A lot of things that is, sometimes you don't know whether you can make a change or not. The feeling of helplessness. But this was the first time, like after a long time, there has been a protest and there has been some voice that was heard together, a collective voice that has been heard, and some changes have been made. And it was so alarming for me to see people in my own friends list, to see people in my own people I've known forever, like my family, my friends from like more than 20 years, and the people I am. We are calling friends, right? We are on Instagram nowadays. We are so busy. People have their own. That's what people are preoccupied emotionally with with their work. And don't tell me that it is such a smooth sailing journey for you working with the capitalist industry right now, because I know it is not. It is only getting worse. You are being trained to not think. You're being trained to only be busy with your work. You're and emotionally exhausted with your work and your personal life. And just looking at the people who are so blatantly supporting people who are doing such I can't even, I don't know if bad is the, I cannot just say bad. You scold a kid and you say bad, or you scold your pet and say bad. Such violence and, the mindset they come with is truly scary. And I don't know how people are like clearing their conscience with some kind of sentiments related to, of course it is religious, come on, who are we kidding, right? Religious sentiments and unhealed traumas from their past, right? And what happened in the past, what happened in the history, and they feel so emotionally attached to that, they don't know what, the sacred scriptures are standing for. They don't know what it actually means. Because you've never asked why. You've never explored yourself. Like, what is this concept? What is this energy? What is this divine flow? So everything becomes like it stops at an ego and fear-based reactions, fear and anger and whatnot, right? And is just gone humanity is just gone. And it is so scary to see how many of them are belonging to this category, how many educated people are in this category. That is that is truly something scary for me. I'm thinking what is going to happen to the future. Some of us feel the collective energy. Some of us understand the pain of others. Some of us cannot scroll past something like that. And you might think just because we are emotional, there are people who are emotional. Hang on, okay, sorry, I got a little disturbed there. Yeah, just because people are emotional or they have feelings, they can actually feel the pain of others, and that doesn't mean they don't think logically, right? They don't have that, you know, their logic and their understanding of the situation, which is far more wider and bigger and beyond what they see in this 3D world, right? It gets dismissed. It just gets dismissed, right? I hope we are in these times. I have so much love for this current generation, the Gen Zs, the way they've shown up, the way the dignity and awareness that they're showing, despite all the violence that they see. They've shown up with courage, and they still have that all the right kind of emotions intact, right? But we also see, at the same time, we also see people who are getting in Gen Z generation, who are getting brainwashed and media conditioned, and some of them just doing it because they fear the people in their family. They fear, the disassociation is going to be something stupid and scary. Perhaps there are a lot of things, when you just dive into it, you're going to uncover a lot of things, a lot of data. Data is what it is, data. And it is good that we're questioning it right now. And there are so many things to be questioned, more than this protest, what this protest represents. There's more to it. And I am getting to see how people are responding, and I'm thinking, okay, these are the mindset that is around me. These are the kind of people that is around me, and it is very disturbing for me. First of all, I started this channel because I have ADHD and I want to, connect with people who have ADHD. I feel, we would get along, we would understand each other and get along. And now it has become much bigger than that. Finding your own community has become much bigger than that, because now it's a problem of concern of safety, and being associated with the right kind of individuals whose belief systems and their core values align with yours. And knowing that there is moral disengagement that is so much prevalent around you, even with the people and the celebrities that you're following, you're thinking, okay, you like them, my god, okay, but this is the kind of response, this is what they're doing, and they're very subtle about it. And you would think, why am I saying media conditioning, media conditioning? Such things are happening on from both different opinions. The media is being, there is media and content that has been circulating on both ends, right? See, it's a way people react to it, right? I see people who have done a research, who have understood what is going on, and who, with a very good temperament of emotions, they are responding. And mind you, these are not even even the older ones, but I am very surprised, and I'm very surprised by the younger ones who are showing up like this, right? And it is very important that we support them. We support this. I don't want them to feel like there is nothing that can come from such attitude and behavior, because again, that is scary. That is scary. When their people's mindset are changing this way, it is scary. Okay, we cannot lean towards apathy. I was writing a script for my other channel. Every time, I've been trying to post something there, my whole schedule has become chaotic, and I don't even know, like, I don't even know how to get back to it, because it's like again, it is a ADHD thing. And every time I'm sitting down to write something, I'm also like, emotional about it, and I need to I need to mellow down and talk in, like, a little more neutral temperament here. Not that my opinions are neutral, just the way I want to communicate, right? I want to be calm and composed and dignified instead of going the way when you start talking, right? I've tried this before. I've written it down, but even when I'm writing, my sometimes it's just going off. The emotions are pouring out, so I'm trying to finalize and make sure everything sounds okay. If you want, I can read out some things for you. The first, I'm starting off with saying, this is actually scary. This is scary. Okay. It says, when Dr. Gustav Mark Gilbert, the prison psychologist who evaluated the high ranking Nazi leaders, he concluded the underlying psychological thread connecting the defendants was not clinical madness, but a profound absence of empathy. A profound absence of empathy, which is seen right now with people around us. Look at how people are responding to such a situation. They don't care if people die. They don't care if the blood is being shed. And I don't know what they're referring to when they're referring to Bhagavad Gita, because I feel like we haven't read the same Bhagavad Gita. They're only referring to the war and getting enraged because of their attachment to religion. That's not it. Please dive deeper, a little bit more deeper into why you're feeling this way, and are how the people in power are manipulating you just with, like I said, with inclusivity and religious sentiments and whatnot, right? And let's stop blaming everything on other communities here. We've heard enough of that, enough of calling people terrorists, enough of people trying to convert us. Why are you stupid? Like, why would you just say yes to conversions? That all that is using that to spin and play such a huge game where you're selling people's souls, and you are destroying their humanity, their basic human nature, and putting our country into such debt. And I think soon it will be poverty, and soon, if it is not If it is not, if you don't see to it right now, it might end up in a war zone, right? What are they talking about? They're talking about a lot of things. Just see the materials that has been circulating around, which is happening. It is not illusion. It is not a conspiracy theory, even. It is with data, it is happening. Okay? And every time somebody is trying to voice their opinion, somebody is trying to say something about this, there is oppression stating, and it is triggering religious sentiments with people. And it is high time that we wake up from this association. Okay? This is not it. This is not where the concept of God even comes from. Okay? We need to see beyond that. This is what happens when we get stuck just at the representation, right? The interface. If I were to give you an analogy, imagine there's a priest who is conducting an exorcism on a person, right? There is a demonic entity that is residing with this person. And yeah, let it be corruption. This is an analogy, right? Corruption and whatnot. All kind of corruption, violence against women, violence against people, oppressing, suppressing, and beating them to pulp, beating people to pulp, beating farmers, the poor people who come to register a complaint, who voice their, they have a voice. Even to have that, people, they are getting violence just to just come and talk. And there's no dharma in all these things, by the way. Please, it's just an illusion. Like I said, the priest is trying to exorcise this person, right, who has a demonic entity with him. Now it is all very evident. Now the priest is successful. Now the entity has, entered the priest, and nobody knows about it. But priest has a representation, someone who is, who is a hero right now in this situation, right? Now nobody will believe that this priest is carrying the spirit of the demonic entity. It is very easy for this priest to, influence people around, this entity to influence. Forget, like I said, do not associate. So do not put a face to anything, even to, your belief system of the divine energy. Try to keep it personal first, explore it personally before you fall for the representation. Then you will know very clearly. Your intuition can guide you towards what is right and wrong, towards, there is a subconscious level of energy flow that is happening with the collective subconscious, right? The collective unconscious. So explore certain concepts, try to understand the concept of God by yourself, because it is a magical journey. You will unlock some level of six senses, and also there is so much magic to it. It cannot be seen immediately, because that will scare you. Okay, that will scare you. It has to be something that you explore slowly. If some magic happens immediately in your life, and if you start seeing these things, experiencing these things, you're going to get scared and terrified. So there is a process and journey to it. Keep it personal first before you give it a representation, because everything else, even the representation, is the translation of this energy, this divine flow that started within you, within someone first, and they have managed to use things around them to beautifully represent it with whatever was available in those times. And we don't know what happened in those times, right? But look at what they've created. It's so beautiful. And we are meant to be appreciating the beauty of all than fighting about it, right? We need to have that level of nuanced discernment. How do you get that nuanced discernment? You have to unlock your intuition, that sixth sense. You have to have that, because otherwise you will get fooled by everything. Now everything is online, everything is media conditioned. there is AI circulating very easily. Visual, don't know the power of visual and audio, audio, like, what is it called, conditioning, because every day you're listening to the same thing every day, repetitive, like that's what they talk in manifestation and affirmations, right? There is repetition. It takes even, like, 10 days, 21 days, the things that you feed into your brain, it get wired that way. So very, very most scary part is this: they are conditioning, media conditioning everyone through this. And if you're not consciously watching news, if you're not consciously doing this, and if you are not awakened within by yourself, right, it is very easy to fall into all these traps. So please understand, and please try to navigate all this with discernment, right? Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, the total incapacity to feel the fellow human beings. So this is the Nazi leaders' mindset, and they have been training others also with these mindset, and that is how it has been trickled into our own system right now, right? Only if you dissociate and watch, right? Only if you have consciously dissociate and not always tied into groups, right? If you don't spend time with yourself, you don't question yourself, you don't ask why. Only if you only do that is when you have your own opinion. Okay, otherwise it's just malice that is being, that you have just adapted, right? And it is good that there is being voice being raised. It is good that this is being shaken up right now. Otherwise it is going to be a very difficult thing to wean out of. Okay, it can, even this cannot happen overnight. There is no victory here just because the education minister has been changed. It is the same kind of people, right? The same kind of people. Why are these people representing? I don't know how people are so confident that such people who are, they should be scared that these are the people who are representing us as ministers. Nobody is educated. Nobody has, there's always pointing fingers. Of course, the devil is in power. Of course, everything else is easy to suppress. Anyone who points a finger, they're in prison. And people who are meant to be in prison are, they're exploring, they're outside. And in this country itself is becoming a big prison where, all kind of people, prisoners are ruling. Can you imagine that? What kind of a hell are we living in, right? We cannot continue this way. So yeah, I was just talking about how there are different groups of people here. Someone who is, there's moral disengagement. They're actively suppressing their conscience. They're justifying violence. They're justifying everything, defending abuse, dehumanizing those who were protesting, right? They showed up. They showed up with such dignity, with such awareness. It was a non-violent protest, and the police showed up determined to induce violence, riots. Well, that is very disturbing. If that doesn't shake you up, I don't know. It would have shaken people up, even the boomers. But the media conditioning is so strong now. They're like, no, yeah, we sympathize with the students, but everything else is anti-national and anti, they're terrorists. How easily, they can flip their mindset, the trance they put people in, the boomers in, everyone else around in. And I saw a poster of Karthik Aryan during all this protest, during something that such big, event happening here. Karthik Aryan has posted a picture of himself, in Namaste or prayer pose behind a temple, and with music, God music. Okay, now, what you might think this is just a simple poster. They know how to psychologically manipulate people. Okay, so definitely he has shown. This is like definitely he's showing his support with the BJP. And even before this, these people, the minister, the government has been recruiting a lot of influencers and actors and not just them, in every industry, in every field, to from top level to bottom level, they're recruiting people to be on their side. And this is Karthik Aryan, telling the supporters that, they are with BJP and he is with BJP. And in a way, it is a way of clearing conscience too. Okay, God is going to forgive. That is not clear conscience. You cannot play, God song. You cannot put sacred scripts and think, everything is for the good. Everything is for the good. This is for something bigger. You cannot do that. You cannot watch people die. You cannot watch people ignore, not even watch, ignore, and sedate your conscious with all these, neuroplasticity tricks, where you're trying to wire your brain, telling your brain that this is okay. Of course, your brain will believe that is how it works, right? That is how what they teach in manifestation. They never tell you about how it can be a wrong thing too, because nobody is using it for the wrong deeds. That's not what they are projecting, right? But this is the wrong side of it. They're not aware, they're not doing it on purpose, but this is how they clear their conscience. Haven't you seen this happen in your own family or people around you, right? Whatever they do, they feel like going to a religious place of worship is going to clear everything and God is with them. No, that doesn't work. It works actually, but I don't know, it is not right. You need to ask yourself, at some point you need to snap out of it and ask yourself, what are you supporting here actually? And perhaps, you can't expect everyone to belong to a certain group and certain mindset and certain belief system. But at least right now, because of the exposure, because of this protest and what it has exposed, your kind. You know your kind. And yeah, I hope you find some hope within that. You find some clarity within the situation, because now you can, disassociate from people who are not your kind and associate with people who are more like you, because this is not like a small issue, this kind of oppression in this country. I have friends, like I said, I've had this friend for over 20 years now. I have to stop talking to him because of where he stand and how relentlessly he is supporting this party or the opposite party, right? See, I'm not a political person. I have not been. And yeah, earlier I used to not even say this, but I feel the need to say this right now. I'm not a political person. I've not had a political opinion. Very consciously and intentionally, I have disassociated myself from this from a very long time. The last time I ever stood up for some political thing was in 2011 or 2012, and it was for that non-violence movement, and we know how that turned out, right? So this is why I say, do not associate. When I was young, being associated with that, being on their side, right? Later on, brought me some kind of guilt because of looking at the corruption and the news that was spreading about their corruption. Um, Perhaps I was not involved in that, the politics. I was not involved at all even before that. I think it's my friend who said, there is a non-violence, protest that is happening here against corruption in Bangalore. Let's go. And we were young, and when she said non-violence, like, of course, I want to support non-violence. Even then, it was not about really about politics. Okay, it was about that mm, that human feeling of non-violence and the corruption that has been spreading. And after that, I'm working with the awareness of my age back then. This is why I said, the students that are showing up, I'm very proud of them with the wisdom they have. Knowledge is something, wisdom is something else. Okay. And at a young age, they're showing wisdom, which comes with emotional intelligence as well. Not just the IQ, with emotional intelligence too. So yeah, I have not had, and I've, disassociated with political association ever since. Okay. And I'm not guilty of this because this affects me I don't know if it's because I'm an empath or the way I feel everything, right? Watching the news, watching everything, like it affects me to a level that I would go into depression. Okay, so that was back then. Right now, I'm older, I'm more aware. I know, I've learned how to deal with these things, and not you don't have to carry the weight of the entire world on yourself. You just have to see, like when something is happening in front of you, question it. When something is happening in front of you, support, show compassion, show the level of support you can. And you don't have to force yourself. If you are on your own, you're not emotionally in a right place, you don't have to force yourself to do that. You don't have to carry the weight of this. I have to say this because I know there are people out there who feel everything and who feel, they have to carry the weight of someone else's emotions, the entire world, the entire protest, the entire mm, the pain of the collective, right? So it is a process to manage this. There is a process. You have to learn how to manage this, and it is not for you to solve. If some things takes generations to come out of. It's not always linear, so do not associate too much with that. Okay, so I feel like I have deviated from what I was saying. So yeah, this is something that I wanted to speak about. I didn't intend for this to be this long. But yeah, apathy is thing, and it is very concerning for me. It is very, very concerning for me. I hope things get better. Hope, and we have hope for the future. This is not the world that I would want any of my kids or your kids or the younger generation to grow up in, right? I don't want kids to, especially kids, they're small. Do they deserve this, right? Do they deserve this kind of treatment, this kind of world? And from how it is changing, it's going to be very difficult. There will be, very evidently, there will be a privileged set, and very evidently, there will be, people in poverty. That's not a good sight. There's not a good landscape to have. I guess I'm just going to end this here. Um, I'll see you again in some other vlog, I guess. I have to unwind. I have to get back to my routine. I have to balance this out, this mindset and how it is affecting me, right? I need to balance this out and I have to start doing my own things as well and show up for myself as well. So, and show up for the collective, right? So, yeah, I don't know who's listening to this, but yeah, I just wanted to vent it out. I just wanted to vent this out and release it from my system. So here we are.